I'm about to drink more. Let's do this thing. Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 91 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one podcast in Canada. We're recording on, that's not today's date, Monday, August the 7th, 2017.
Hi, I'm Gavin, business owner, gun enthusiast, hunter, atheist, content provider for Toxic Kodiak Pathfinders, and host of the Greater Toronto Area chapter of the Tactical Beard Owners Club.
I'm Tim, sport shooter, father of three, and the owner and operator of Tim's Good T-shirts, so they're quite good. And I'm also a proper-handed descendant of beer-drinking immigrants.
All right, I'm Marty, hunter and sport shooter in rural Southern Ontario.
Hey, I'm Sean. I guess I'm driving, so I don't have the show notes up, but I shoot stuff and work at stuff and have a kid. And CCFR.
And CCFR.
Good enough.
And CCFR. My name is Andrew. As always, I'm your host. I'm a recovering libertarian, a competitive shooter, and a firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical. And I also CCFR. And by that, I mean I pay for a membership.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear your feedback about the show, so please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. We love your hate mail. We don't nearly get enough of it. The edited version of the show is available on Stitcher and iTunes, and if you use the iTunes, we'd love some more 5-star reviews because it's been a little while. And in the comments section, put down something you'd like me to drink for an episode, and that just might happen.
All right, and you can social media the podcast at facebook.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast and Instagram at instagram.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast. Tim's on mute.
We need your help to support the show. Visit www.patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get the uncensored audio version of the show for just $1 an episode. The more you pledge, the better the rewards are.
All right, with that, let's go into what are you drinking? We'll start with Gavin. What are you drinking?
I am drinking Erdinger Dunkel this evening because I was at a barbecue and they force-fed me all kinds of non-keto-friendly things, so I figured I'd use that to my advantage and drink the beers that have been sitting in my fridge for far too long.
Right on. Marty, what are you drinking?
It's my last day of vacation, so my last day with beer. I get I've Rickard's White tonight, courtesy of Tyler.
Nice. Leftover free beer is the best kind of beer.
Indeed.
Sean, I hope you're not drinking.
And he's gone.
Oh, we lost Sean.
Jeez,
RCMP probably got
maybe he
going.
was
They're out
through a
ripping
tunnel.
Maybe he was drinking.
Ooh.
Well, we don't encourage.
Things suddenly got very, very dark.
Yeah. Things are always dark in Ontario.
Allegedly.
Nice. Somebody's on point with the drops tonight. Tim, what are you drinking?
Drinking 40 Creek Copper Pot and generic Diet Coke because I live in Ontario.
Fair enough. I'm drinking Coors Banquet, and I'm ready to get loaded. Let's talk about some shooting stuff. This weekend was, I don't know, match number 4 for the Ontario Action Shooting League.
Sounds about right.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, we'll go with
there's
that.
2 more and there's 6, yeah.
Math, science. Let's talk about the shotgun match at Oxford. So I think Tim didn't participate, but everyone else was a participant. Some of us were even winners. I was not one of them.
It's true. Your bad news out of the way, and then we won't rip on you, or did you want us to wait a little bit on that?
No,
one?
save that till the end. It wasn't until stage 5 when things all went to hell. So let's talk about the first 4 stages. Actually, you know what? Because Marty and I were not wage cucking on Friday, unlike some people, Marty and I spent a lovely Friday almost dying from a tornado at the Oxford Gun Club, setting everything up for the match on the weekend.
Yeah. That's what you get for being part of the 1%, guys.
So Andrew and I, so Oxford is my home club. So I was one of the ones that were setting up this match. Andrew came out as well, and as part of how it went was we spent basically the first half of the day, moving all the steel out, setting all the stages up, and then the plan was we were going to spend, we took a break for lunch, and then we were going to spend the second half where all of us that worked were going to be shooting it that afternoon. So the setup went well. We started to shoot it. We got through the first stage, and then sort of weather took a turn for the worse. But it went. It's one of those things where, there's a couple of like really bad storms over the course of a year, and then there's those storms that you only get like once every 5-10 years, and this was that. I mean, it hit like so suddenly, just wind and water coming sideways. It was immediately trees started coming down. As we were running back, a tree fell on a guy twice. Okay. Like two.
Right. I want to talk about. So I was one of the. There was two of us that were like, well, we want to shoot. We're here today. Let's shoot. And the first guy that was up on the second stage that got 5 rounds before like the clouds opened up and the flood started because we could see Noah's fucking Ark in the distance. So we ran as we're running up the path. I'm the last guy coming off the field, and the guy in front of me is going through a gate. He has my shotgun and the scoring tablet, and he gets hit by a freaking tree branch. And I catch up to him. He gets up. He's fine. As soon as he gets up, he gets immediately struck by a second tree branch.
Played the lottery later that day.
Yeah, the rest of us, like, there's 2 guys that really couldn't reliably come back and shoot on the Saturday or the Sunday. So we were going to try to rush them through. We could see that the weather was coming. So the rest of us kind of like, we'll help reset to try and move things faster. We're like, all right, we're going to get, it's going to start raining. Let's just like run our guns back up to our trucks and so that they don't get wet. And so like we were in the process of doing that. We'd kind of came out of the path to the ranges, and like I was at just sort of the edge of the driveway, and I had to go 20-30 feet to my truck when the first drop of rain hit. And by the time I made it to my truck, like in a sprint, I was soaked as if I had like jumped in a pool. It was insane.
Do you guys know
it was
the guy who was hit by the tree branches? Like, do you know him? Like, was he a Lord of the Rings fan or?
I do know him. I don't know whether or not. Yeah, I don't know whether or not he's a Lord of the Rings fan.
So he wasn't all like, "Oh, cool." And
nope, that was not his response.
I would say it was generally not a pleasant experience being struck twice by the same tree.
Okay.
Yeah, and we went immediately into the basement because there's a fear that the clubhouse was going to come down.
Which I didn't realize happened until I got to the clubhouse, because being the last person there, I had already put on all of my Gore-Tex rain gear, figuring like, this is the part of the day where we now get wet. I'm going to put on all of my rain stuff, and I will leisurely walk back to the clubhouse and whatever, because I'm not going to get any wetter than I am right now, which was not very wet. And I got into the parking lot where Marty had finished sprinting, and I looked left, and I went, oh, that looks like a tornado. I guess that's why everyone's running. Maybe I should try running too. That seems like an idea. Why is there no one in the clubhouse? Oh, everyone else is downstairs. That also seems like a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of these things. It wasn't the water, it was like the debris flying through the air that you had to be concerned about.
Yeah, didn't realize that coming up the path because it was a, like a treed path. So it wasn't until I was in the open that I realized why we were running for cover.
So anyways, that's just that's sort of a side story to start the OAS weekend.
Yeah, so that was fun. That was a good way to spend Friday. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And we went back on Saturday. Oh, well, I went back on Saturday. Yeah. We went back on Sunday, right, Marty?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I guess, I don't know, we started at, I think, probably one of the most fun stages of the match. The nice long sort of run through the woods with, what was it, 28 shot? stage?
28.
Yeah, minimum round count was 28.
Our squad started
Okay.
on stage 1 and went in order on Saturday. So stage 1 was pretty good. 28 rounds, run through the bush, shoot some clays, shoot some steel. How'd everybody do? How'd everybody feel?
Comparing it to how I shot that stage last year, because it was kind of, different but similar. I think I did better at it than I did last year. I still think I could have done a little better, but like I was the very first shooter for that stage, so I was going in, no warm up, nothing. So I was pleased with my performance. Could have been a little bit better, but was not terrible.
I had a couple issues at that stage. I somehow missed a clay in the bush. I don't know if I just missed a shot at it or I don't know what happened, but somehow I had a mic on the clays in the bush there. And then I had one issue with
they're hard to see.
Yeah. As I was moving down somewhere on the way, I knocked a round off my belt. And then when I went to grab a quad load, I ended up just grabbing like 3. And then it kind of collapsed instead of getting like 2 and 2, where it's like I grabbed 3 and just kind of collapsed in. So I had like no way to like feed that into the shotgun. That was kind of a pain. I had to like drop that. And so I lost a bit of time there as well. Now I did get one lucky thing on this stage is at the very end, at this stage, you kind of ran through the bush and you kind of came out into an open field. There was targets to the right, targets to the left. I engaged the targets to the right, reloaded as I was moving over to the left, engaged the targets to the left, and then my gun, I had a bit of malfunction. I guess not a stovepipe. I don't know what you'd call on a shotgun, where sort of the nose of the round jams on the edge of the chamber. It doesn't actually chamber the round. It doesn't return to battery. So I had to quickly like eject that round, and that was the last round of the gun. So I had to grab another round, pull the open, get one in the chamber, get the new round chamber. Like wasting so much time, I pulled the gun up, and I had no more targets. So the round that my gun jammed on was after my last target. So I was kind of lucky there. So I didn't fire another shot. So luckily I didn't add all that time onto it. But I thought I still had one more target to go, and panicked and went through the whole procedure to kind of clear the jam out and get another round in there. And I look up and there was no more targets left.
Guess it could have gone worse.
Yeah.
So stage 1, stage 2.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Marty. Tell us about stage 2.
So stage 2, there's a creek running through the club. So you started kind of on one side of the creek. There's 7 targets, 5 steel with 2 aerials. So 2 falling steels that would launch aerial clays. Then you had to cross the bridge. There's another falling steel aerial and a bunch more steel and falling plates along that side. You had to work your way through.
Yeah, that bridge was pretty friggin' slippery.
That bridge is always
a
little slippery.
Yeah. Which I know last year there was a guy that wiped out on it. So it is a concern because, you are trying to run across it as fast as you can with a loaded firearm. So, it does force you to kind of slow down a little on that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, another fun long stage, which was nice.
Yeah, this was my best stage of the match. I was able to take both all the falling steels and clays as doubles. So I went steel, steel, clay, clay, which really sped things up. So I didn't have to wait for them to fall. Basically, by the time I dropped the second one, the clay for the first one was up in the air. So I was able to kind of rush through that pretty quickly. And that one that was just my best stage.
I enjoyed that stage. This is one of the first times where I've had the throwers, the aerial clays that come up from the steel, where I've actually managed to get all of them. Usually I'll, if they set up 4, I'll get like 2 or 3. This time it was 3 for 3, so I was happy about that. Things worked out well.
Were they
that was something I noticed in general.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
Were they the normal size clays, or were they those little mini discs?
No, they were
normal
actually
size clays.
regular clays.
So one thing I noticed is when I watched this stage last year, I mean, the stage layout was different, but the same, they had a pair of aerials kind of thing together. Was last year when I watched people do this, a lot of people struggled to hit those clays. And I got to see a lot of people run through it this year because when we were doing the breakdown, I was there for the cleanup as well. So we saw a couple squads go through it as well. And I thought this year, everybody was cleaning up those clays. So I don't know what the difference was this year versus last year, but
I don't know. It's not like they were throwing them especially high. Like I found they were not up for very long.
No.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly, I just think that the whole league itself, I think the skill level is moving up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so.
All right, somebody else describe stage 3.
Stage 3 was the Texas Star.
Which one was stage? Right.
Yes.
Gavin, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I guess there was a Texas Star directly in front of you that you had to shoot through sort of a narrow port. So shoot below it, which it sounds like some people opted to do at one point. And then there were also, what was it, 4 targets on either side? 2 on each side?
2 on each side.
So that you also had to engage, I guess, through low ports on either side. So you kind of, at one point or another, you had to get down on your knees or prone or whatever.
That was, well, it wasn't a big enough box to lay prone normally. Yeah.
Right. This was my worst stage of the match, and I did it. I chose poorly on how I tackled this stage. Pretty well, everyone on my squad did it pretty similar, more or less, to how I did it. But seeing other stages and some other guys go later on, there was definitely there was a way to run this stage much better. So how I did it was I think no matter what, everybody engaged the Texas Star first. So I engaged Texas Star. I jammed a bunch more rounds in, and I just dropped down dead center. So basically just behind the table. And from dead center, I leaned kind of on one knee, crouching down to the right, and engaged the 2 on the right, and then flipped the gun over and went on low left and got the ones on the low left. So without moving, basically, I was in one position the entire time. That worked, and it worked for a lot of guys. For myself, to roll over onto the left, because I'm combination of a tall guy and maybe less flexible. When I got onto the left side, I could not get a line on those clays. And so I had to kind of pull the gun off of my shoulder to get it lower, where I didn't have sights anymore. So then I just fired around, saw where it hit, and then moved the gun a bit, fired again till I hit it. Did the same thing on the next target. So I wasted like 4 shots to get those 2 targets because I couldn't use my sights at that point. I just had to basically hip shoot it.
Yeah.
So
my strategy
and then I'll kind of go through.
Yeah, my strategy was pretty similar to yours. I engaged the Texas Star through the sort of standing port in the middle, and then sort of dropped down, to my butt and kind of leaned to my left and then to my right to shoot the targets. My better stages. So a similar strategy.
So Andrew, how did you tackle this one?
I had a different approach, and in retrospect, I should have had more confidence in my abilities, but I was doing something that I was uncomfortable with. So starting, pick up gun, engage Texas Star, 5 rounds, 5 plates fall, everything is good. I took 2 steps back, and while I was taking my steps backwards to the rearmost fault line, I jammed 4 more rounds in the gun, because that I figure that way I've got 2 shots that I can make up, right?
Yeah.
And I sat down in a regular, like, cross-legged sitting position and just leaned forward until I could see under the barricade on either side. I started right side, but it doesn't matter. Same process. And I went bang, bang, and I looked over to the left side and moved the gun, bang, bang, and everything fell down. And then I had to rack 4 rounds out of the shotgun.
It worked well.
Yeah.
It worked very well, and it was it wasn't the fastest, but I think I came in fifth on that stage. I had it was down in like 18.88 seconds.
Nice, excellent, strong work.
Yeah, I was very happy with how that stage went, and it was just I should have been more confident because I probably could have shaved 2 or 3 seconds off with not doing the reload.
I think what I heard was some of the guys that shot it really fast actually just engaged everything from a seated position because you could shoot the Texas Star from below where you started.
So I can tell you because I got to see them go, and I spoke with the guy with the and I went through his. He did it in 9 seconds, basically the top shooter.
That's pretty fast.
And he did it the way I saw some other guys go through it. The trick, I would say, the trick to this one, or the way that I saw the guys that shot it the fastest did this stage was standing, take out the Texas Star, reload while moving to the far right port, and from the far right low port, you could engage all 4. You could shoot around the center port from the far right. So they just dropped down on their right-hand side. They didn't have to move again. They didn't have to pivot. They didn't have to move the gun up and over to get from the right side to the left side. They just went 1, 2, 3, 4 from the right side.
Yeah, that would have definitely saved some time.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like once I saw it, like in my walkthrough, I never realized that I could hit all 4 from there. No one on my squad did, and it's one of those things that once you saw somebody do it, you're like, "Oh fuck!" Like, yep, that's how it should have been done.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of like on the next stage, there was the ability to sort of do that, where they had a lot of ports you could shoot through, but you didn't have to shoot through them all because you could kind of hit some from other ports.
Let's talk about that. What was describe stage 4, Gavin?
Oh, geez. I don't even know how to really describe it. It was kind of an octagon-ish shape that you had some...
No, you're thinking about 5.
So
4.
Stage 4, yeah. Stage 4 is the barrel walk.
Describe 5.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, the barrel walk was down a sort of long, skinny path that you had to stay on where you had, barrels on either side and then some targets to either side, and then once you got to the end of it, there was another set of arrays on your left and right. So a fairly straightforward map, nothing to it really, but it was a little bit longer, and you had to sort of engage to your left and right.
Correct.
Not super challenging, but
yeah. About the only difference I saw between this was whether or not people decided to walk and shoot it on the move, or if they decided to run and then plant and then shoot all from one spot, kind of or 2 spots.
Yeah, the only thing that sort of made it a little bit challenging, and it wasn't even that bad when we shot it, was that the little pathway they had you on in the rain was a little bit slippery, so you kind of had to watch it a bit. But by the time I think we got to it, it had stopped sort of spitting and it had dried up enough that really wasn't a concern, but it could have been.
Yeah. Other than that, I think this one is pretty straightforward. I think most people took it in the very similar manner.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of gaming potential for that stage.
I did the same thing. I ran up to the first 2, and I'm like, I'm going to keep moving, and I immediately missed the first 2, and I'm like, I'm going to stop moving because that's a better plan.
Yep.
Yeah. So I chose the run and plant move because I found that from one spot I could take out 6 of the 8, and so I kind of made a visual cue for myself that kind of once the 2 became exposed, that I knew from that spot I could engage 6. So I ran to there, engaged 6, and then reloaded 6 as I was walking forward, and then I took the last 2 while moving.
Well, good for you. I'm a little jealous. Okay, Gavin, do you want to describe the octagon now?
Yes, I do. I believe there were 14 targets on this stage. There were sort of, I guess the front half of an octagon, if you will, because the back was kind of open, and you can't shoot behind you anyways because that's dangerous and you get DQ'd. But more or less to your immediate right and left were sets of 3 steel plates on each side that you had to shoot that were, I would say, pretty darn close to 90, so like 87 degrees, maybe 88 degrees. And then you had a series of ports throughout the sort of octagon where there'd be a small number of targets, and then some low ports, some high ports. So you kind of had the ability to shoot them from any of those. And a lot of people kind of went through each port and shot what they could see and kind of moved either to the left or the right through the octagon until they shot them all. But if you kind of started in one corner at the back, you could engage, half of the targets and then run up to one of the ports, engage the targets through that port, and then through shooting underneath one of the other ones, you could engage the final set of targets and shave some time off if you could see them all, which some people tried to varying degrees of success.
Yep.
And then some people
All right,
would
you like to relate my embarrassing story?
Completely fucked up.
Well, let's leave Andrews for last. Well, so Gavin, how did you approach this one?
I did the sort of shooting under the port. The unfortunate, I was running the stage quite well, and then I had a malfunction on my gun that took me a little bit to clear. So this, I think, ended up being my worst stage, time-wise. But yeah, my strategy was to engage the targets to my, immediate left and right, run up to the first port, take them out through there, and then shoot under the other port. But before I got a chance to shoot under the other port, I guess the lifter in my shotgun jammed, and I had to kind of play with that and then eject a round But I managed to clear it and shoot. So there were still some people that did worse than me on this particular stage, but I could have done much better.
So I did this one. So from the starting position at the back line, I engaged the 3 on the right, 1 through the left port that was visible, and then the 3 on the back left. So I engaged those 7. Quad loaded on my way up to the front left port, and shot over top of the barrels to take out the other ones over the barrels, and through the kind of the front center ones through that left port. Then quad loaded on my way to the right side port and shot over the barrels and took the ones in the front right. So I just shot through the left and right port. It's the only 2 ports I went through. And, for me, it was a lot easier to just move from port to port because I had to reload anyway. So to me, just to do a standing reload, to then drop down and make an awkward shot is not going to save me time. So for me, if I have to reload, I'm going to use that time to move to a more advantageous shooting position. And so I went left port, right port, and I did fine on this stage. Now, and just as one anecdotal story, I shot this stage first, and another guy on my squad came over after I finished, and he's like, I liked your stage plan. That's way better than what I was going to do. I'm doing your way. I'm like, sure, go ahead. He went and shot the stage immediately after me. There's a disparity in size between myself and the person that shot after me. I'm quite a bit taller than he is. So I elected to shoot over top of the barrels. Because for me, at 6'2", I could shoot over top of the barrels. When he got up there to take my same stage plan, shot right into the barrels, in the top of the barrels, and couldn't get the steals from the same ports, like the same positions that I was shooting them from. And so that's one of those things where, once you do your walkthrough, once you made your stage design, you got to be very hesitant about trying to take somebody else's and trying to change your stage design afterwards. Like oftentimes you're better off to just go with what you've decided, because you've made your decision based on what your shooting capabilities are.
Yep.
So that's just sort of one of those lessons learned,
I have a lesson.
So Andrew, how did you approach this stage?
I had a very different stage plan. I decided I'd put 9 rounds in my shotgun, shoot 9 targets, and then curse incessantly for the remainder of my time.
which was very
And why was
short-lived.
that?
It turns out that I should have taken my ammo belt with me because it was very hard to reload without it. I did not.
So
do
Andrew
that.
forgot to wear his belt with all of his ammo on it. So he shot 9 rounds and then was ineffective.
Incredibly ineffective. Overall, I think it was a very good match. I thoroughly enjoyed Friday.
So,
I mean, I got
one
called
quick
a
thing,
lot.
though, is with the ammo belt. You would think that would be rare that this happens in a match. Unfortunately, there was another gentleman on the stage before that did the exact same thing. So it's even funnier that Andrew did it because we were making fun of the gentleman that did it this stage previous.
Yeah. So why did you take it off to begin with? Can you not handle the weight of 20 shells on you for 20 minutes?
It's not the weight. It's the fact that my my not very skinny stomach and my ammo belt get in the way of one another when I bend over to pick up steel. So the moral of the story is don't reset. Yeah, just don't reset the stage, and you won't forget.
There you go. Well, lessons learned everywhere.
Yeah, I felt dumb.
Yeah, you should.
That took me from the top third of my division to the bottom third of my division.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's a rough one because I mean, you. So without going into the scoring of how this works, you ended up with a 0 on the stage, and that's a pretty low score.
It would be hard to get a lower score.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was fun.
Yeah, great match. Everything went, with the exception of tree falling on a guy. Everything went pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Yes, the almost dying thing did kind of suck.
But did you die?
I did not, and that's what counts. Let's. Anyone else have closing comments?
No. Like I said, I mean, the match was really good. The only thing better was the delicious food and bants after.
Yes, the gathering at Marty's was.
Yeah, it's always good having everyone together for a meal.
I also enjoyed sleeping on your sofa.
Yeah, you did that as well.
I totally fell asleep.
That will happen.
It's okay.
Did you have your ammo belt on?
No.
No, you forgot it.
No. Yeah, okay.
All right, let's talk about some news. We got news, and we're over on time, so this ought to be fun.
I get it.
First one's.
Who says we don't? We have news.
We have news.
Yeah,
we're the mainstream media now. So the first one's from therecord.com. Canada can handle asylum seekers, according to our Prime Minister. I strongly disagree, but that's just my opinion, man. So the shiniest of ponies has made comments that we want. I don't know. Actually, the way that this starts, I want to read part of this thing from Trudeau because it starts off with we get behind, and that's the Prime Minister and the government saying that if people are going to immigrate here, they have to do it the correct way. So the shiny pony says we want migration to Canada to be done in an orderly fashion. There's border checkpoints and border controls that we need to make sure are respected. I can totally get behind that.
Yeah, things have changed since everyone crossing in Manitoba.
Well, okay, so that's the thing, is there are the stuff that we talked about with Manitoba, where the RCMP was going out to help people crossing into Manitoba illegally. The RCMP and the Quebec Provincial Police are now doing the same thing in Quebec. Fucking hate Quebec, by the way. I need to get drops from the season of Letterkenny, so we have those.
Yeah, I thought about that one, actually.
Quebec?
Yeah, I'll work on that. Quebec. Fishing in Quebec. Anyway, I can get behind what the Prime Minister is saying because I totally support not having open borders and screening people that immigrate into this country and, making sure that we want them to be here and that they're going to be productive members of society.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why I don't understand why the number of people seeking asylum in Quebec has tripled in the last 2 weeks. We're now at 150 people a day reaching Quebec and claiming asylum status. They're anticipating to have 12,000 asylum seekers in Quebec by the end of the year. I don't understand this. Where are all of these people coming from?
So first off, I mean, this is just, perhaps I'm just nitpicking on the language here, but those caught trying to enter the country illegally will be required to navigate the proper immigration channels. If you're caught trying to enter the country illegally, why are you not banned from entry?
Because that wouldn't be fair.
There are circumstances where I could see where that would not be a good option, but it's not like we have a country that's having a civil war next to us where we just should ban everyone. We have a very valid system of immigration in this country. Lots of people have gone through it. It's very arduous. It tends to be very expensive. And I can't think of a reason why anyone should be able to avoid going through that system. So if you choose to not go through the legal means of entering this country, I think we just ought to throw you back over the wall.
Well, I mean, okay,
I think you should be banned from entry. If you are clearly showing that you are willing to break federal law, then you are not a person that belongs in our society because you've shown a willingness to break the rules of our society.
Yes, step number one of being Canadian, break the law and enter Canada illegally. And what do you expect from a prime minister who has 2 goddamn nannies? The guy doesn't know how to parent. He certainly doesn't know how to run a country. You need some tough love.
No, but I can see what Andrew's saying. Like, so if we had somebody that like is in Cuba, one of Castro's and Trudeau's mom's illegitimate, brothers or sisters, but they happen to be stuck in Cuba, and they get on a raft that somehow floats all the way to Canada instead of Miami, I could see that because it's like, okay, you're trying to leave a country that you legitimately need to leave. But if you're just coming across the border from the U.S., like you're not fleeing a communist country,
right,
you're not fleeing a war-torn area.
What have you been smoking? What have you been smoking? Didn't you see that Michael Moore movie? Cuba's a beautiful place to live.
They've got everything.
They got health care and old age homes.
Yeah.
So much socialism. It'll literally crush you to death.
No, guys, you're just confusing it. That's not real socialism.
Ain't never been done before. Need to get drops of that guy too. Anyway, to Gavin's point, I agree with that. There are exceptions where people fleeing from something, okay,
a legitimate thing.
Maybe we can let you stay here until you can go through the correct process of emigrating, because we shouldn't throw you back over the wall. But if you're emigrating from America,
yeah,
why are you seeking asylum from America? Are they experiencing civil unrest? Is there a war going on that hasn't been reported lately?
They're
why
cracking
are you
down on
from
illegal? They're cracking down on illegal immigrants.
Oh, Tim. Okay, so that's not even the people that are fleeing. So the majority of these 150 people for the last 150 people a day for the last 2 weeks are Haitians, people from Haiti.
Haitians. Let me Google that.
People that are currently living in the United States as a protected class of person.
Oh, Haitians. So it's a country in the Caribbean. It says here they have intentional homicide rate in that country down there 6 times what Canada has. Yeah, let them in.
Right. But these Haitians are already living legally in the U.S. as a protected person under U.S. law. They're not being kicked out of the U.S. ICE isn't going around and putting them on boats back to Haiti. They're living legally in the United States. There's 60,000 people that were displaced from Haiti to the U.S. during whatever the hell that hurricane was. It wasn't Katrina. It was a different hurricane.
Oh, so you're thinking the welfare is always greener on the other side of the border?
I think the welfare is definitely greener on the other side of the border because there is a rumor in the United States the Trump administration may revoke their protected status and they'd have to go back to Haiti. So they're getting while the getting's good, and they're fleeing to Canada to claim asylum status. because it's better to be an asylum seeker in Canada than it is to be a Haitian refugee living in America.
But it should be fine to go back to Haiti because we gave the Clinton Foundation billions of dollars to fix Haiti. It must be great there.
Also a valid point.
And what are you claiming asylum from?
America.
Like, you can't even use the hurricane as I'm claiming asylum from the hurricane. It's still out to get me. Like, everything's rebuilt, everything's settled down, and everything's back to normal, at least as normal as Haiti could be. Like,
right. So I am interested to see what they are doing with these people.
Let's not overlook the fluffy, useless statement from our Prime Minister. The core strength of Canada is that it's not governments that are open to immigration. It is Canadians themselves who are open to immigration. So that's the core strength of Canada, boys.
How about no?
Justin Trudeau! I mean, first off, it's not the core strength of Canada. I will say, in general, Canadians are open to immigration. I have no issue with immigration. But there's a difference between sort of economic immigration, like what we've had in the past, where we're bringing in people with specific skill sets that are necessary to developing our society and building our economy, versus people that are coming here because they have no money and are looking for our social services. There's two types of immigration there, and one I have no problems with. The other I do.
Yeah. I mean, and even then, I don't mind us, setting aside a certain percentage for people that do have, legitimate reasons to flee countries, but that shouldn't be the predominant sort of group that we take in,
almost exclusively.
Yeah. We have to balance that.
To the detriment of all other immigrants. Yeah, I would like to get us done away with that. There's absolutely people that should be seeking asylum from the countries that they live in. Totally justifiable and reasonable. People
absolutely.
Seeking asylum from the United States of America? Not reasonable. Not even remotely.
And again, there is a legal process to do that, to immigrate. Those, I mean, with the exception of being forced to basically under threat of death, if you're illegally immigrating just because you want to be here, I think you should be banned. I mean, if you're violating federal law just because you want the free stuff here, you should be banned from entry, at least for a lengthy period of time.
Oh yeah. No question.
I feel like this. I feel like this would definitely limit the refugees, asylum seekers, etc., that are immigrating to this country to get the gibs, to get all the free stuff. Is we just stop giving out welfare to new Canadians. You are not subject to EI or free health care or so on and so forth, unless you can. Unless you're one of those rare examples of someone that's actually going through the asylum process because of your being politically persecuted, et cetera, et cetera. If you can't hold down a job and pass a citizenship test and find a place to live or get a Canadian family to sponsor you while you're going through those processes, you don't get free stuff. Once you start contributing into your tax base, then you get free stuff.
You don't need a job to have an income, though. You could, for instance, charge someone for violating your human rights when your landlord doesn't take their shoes off in your bedroom. That's a good way to make it.
Here's the question, though. Can you charge someone for human rights when, as part of your citizenship exam, you learn that human rights are voluntary?
Oh, that's...
Yeah, but if you haven't taken the citizenship exam yet, you don't know that.
But you could have read it in the book they give you.
That's an interesting.
There's a quandary there. That is a bathroom thought for later.
Yeah.
Greater minds must ponder this.
Good question.
All right, let's talk about the selfie-taking idiot.
Legal defense, at least.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the selfie-taking idiot culturally appropriating my ancestry. The Trudeau stopped by, the Mick Trudeau. Is it Mick or Mac?
Yeah,
He would be Mac.
It depends on which side he's from.
Mac.
it changes every other time he says it.
Yes, the kilt-wearing Mac Trudeau stops by the 70th annual Glengarry Highland Games, and the organizers and crowd just thought this was amazing. And he was there for an hour and took selfies with people, and then
you could really see his socks.
Yeah.
So tying those two stories together, where Trudeau announced made the comments about the asylum seekers moving into Quebec was at the Glengarry Highland Games. There's no pictures, video, or audio from the Glengarry Highland Games of him actually giving those statements. There are about 1,000 pictures of him taking selfies wearing a kilt. I'm disappointed, to say the least, in our mainstream media.
Yeah. But I think we've been disappointed in them for how long has this been show on the air?
92 episodes.
Yeah.
Also,
So
why is he always smiling with his mouth wide open now?
because if he closes his
did
mouth,
this
he'll
during
get
the campaign.
vapor lock.
He's a mouth breather?
Like,
I feel
always.
bad for the one RCMP agent that had to be in all the photos. There's this one tall, like this. There's this one guy that's like 6'2", with Oakleys and a leather jacket.
Yeah, the Oakley
And
guy.
he must be like, he must be a RCMP close protection or some other like security type dude. He's in every picture.
With the vest.
And he just looks unimpressed about everything and towers over everyone. And you know that dude is packing. That's why he has that hideous vest.
Yeah, he's got the IDPA vest.
Yeah, he's totally got the shoot me first vest. And his operator glasses. But he just looks dismayed about everything going on around him. So I feel bad for him, not only because he had to be that close to the PM, but because he clearly didn't want to be in any of these people's pictures.
Yeah.
Now,
Anyway, sorry, operator guy.
I'm trying to find a photo here to see better, but it doesn't look like Trudeau is wearing the knife in his sock. Oh.
I only saw one picture of the socks, and I did not see any knives.
He's not even wearing
Closer than that.
the proper kilt flashes in that he doesn't have any on. He's just
No,
wearing
there's no
some-
kilt flashes. It's just
So
socks.
he's not even appropriating the outfit correctly.
But that's so politically stand for the government of Canada. Like they do not recognize those knives as is it the Skeen Doob?
Yeah.
Skeen do the black knife.
Yeah, they do not. They don't even recognize those. You can't wear that to a prom. Yet they'll let in like Indians and Pakistanis or whatever wear that knife in their belt. Like they allow other cultural knives that are part of like a cultural dress into ceremonies and stuff like that. But they don't recognize that. So I'm not surprised he wasn't wearing one, because to him it shouldn't exist.
It's
Yeah,
a
white
dangerous
people can't
weapon,
defend themselves.
guy. That's right. You have to be a Sikh in order to carry a kirpan. You can't be a white guy and carry a Skeen Doo. Those are definitely not allowed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know I've said it many times on the show, but yeah, the whole kilt thing triggers me because, if the whole thing about cultural appropriation is that you're taking from a culture that, suffered and was treated terrible and all that. I mean, the Highland clearances was a thing. People died and fought for the ability to wear kilts and have their Scottish culture. So it doesn't get any more clear cut than that.
Was the kilt ever outlawed?
No, yeah, but white people don't have their own independent culture. That's not a thing.
No, they do, and
So,
they also stole the
it's
canoe
one of those
from the
things.
Dutch.
Cultural appropriation is bullshit. Like the whole concept of cultural appropriation is absolutely bullshit. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. But what's super annoying is when you see leftists like this that are the people crying out cultural appropriation left and right.
Yeah.
Wearing the garments of another culture and getting a complete pass at it. Like, the hypocrisy is just so frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit that he's wearing a kilt.
No,
But
I
I
don't
care
really
that
either.
that's the people that, I care that that's
I
the people
care
that are
if it was-
continuously like,
if
oh,
it
you
was
can't wear anything, you can't look or say anything that's somebody else's culture.
He should wear, as far as I'm concerned,
Other
he should wear
white
something that his father used to wear, something like the Cuban military fatigues.
If it was any other white guy wearing any other cultural group's outfit, this would be mainstream news. Could you imagine if Stephen Harper dressed up like a Sikh?
Yeah.
Wore a turban?
People would lose their minds.
Like,
yeah.
Put on
or
some of those
or something like that.
Trudeau's worn an Indian headdress, like a chief's headdress.
That's what I mean. Could you imagine if
he has Indian tattoos, so it's okay. Yeah.
The media and the left would lose their mind. Trudeau does it. It's a photo op. It's okay. It's just fine. It's just look at how cool he looks like that. That's right. It looks great in a selfie. Idiot. Get out of my helicopter. Let's do the next one.
As long as you open your smile so it looks like you're in the middle of a laugh, then it's totally fine.
Yeah, no, I'm convinced that the only reason his mouth is stuck open like that is so he doesn't get vapor lock. Let's go on to another triggering installment of how my government's wasting my money on things I disagree with. This comes to us from the Toronto... Oh, where's my button? The Star. This is the Toronto Star article. Ontario to start covering the cost of abortion pills starting on August the 10th. That's right, guys. In just 3 more days, you too can get a $300 pill to kill an unborn child, and the government will pay for it. What the hell is this? Why is our health minister so happy about this? I want to read. I don't know how you say this woman's name.
From the company that produces it.
Indira Naidoo Harris, maybe? I don't know. Our current health minister for the province of Ontario. She says eliminating the fee for this.
That seems a lot easier.
Yeah, Miss Harris, I like that. Eliminating the fee for this drug is about fairness, it's about safety, and it's about the right thing to do. What the fuck does that even mean? Giving out abortion pills about fairness or safety or being the right thing to do. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a pro-life kind of person. I believe in a woman's right to choose, but like, the fuck is this? Why are my tax dollars going towards subsidizing people's shitty decisions and poor behavior?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, like, that's going to be included, but, like, medications that people actually need to live and be productive members of society, like heart medication, blood pressure medications, diabetic medications, things you need to live.
I don't disagree with you, Gavin, but the statement that this woman is making doesn't make any sense. I don't disagree with you, but to say that this is about fairness or safety, what the
Yeah, it's not.
What does giving people the ability to abort an unborn child have to do with fairness or safety? It certainly isn't fair or safe for an unborn child.
I think what she's trying to say by at least the safety part of that comment is that, like, there are places in the world where abortion is not legal, and they have to go.
Ontario is not one of those places.
But yeah, and that's the point. Like, so that's not really a valid statement because there are places here that you can go and legally do that, and I'm sure there are agencies that will fund it for you if you don't have the funding for it. It doesn't necessarily.
It doesn't matter if it. No. In Ontario, if you're a pregnant woman and you want to get an abortion up to, I want to say it's 20 weeks, it's funded by OHIP. Your government insurance will pay for it. I can't find the actual number. It's between $450 and $900, and it has to do with the term that they're at, like how long you've been pregnant. The more expensive it gets. You have a doctor, an anesthesiologist, and nurses, et cetera, et cetera. So there's an OHIP billing code for this, and it varies based on the term of gestation. But call it $600 on average, because that's in the middle of the range.
Yeah.
Okay. They can already do that. Okay,
so
great. So this is going to be $300. That makes it.
I do want to talk quickly about sort of the pro-life aspect of it. It's similar to Andrew. I'm not a pro-life myself, but in respect to those that are, and this is not necessarily a religious, non-religious thing. This is people that believe that this is taking the life. This is a large, a big moral discussion and a big moral issue for a lot of people. They believe that this is the murdering of a child. Okay, they have a strong moral disagreement with this practice. They are now funding this through their tax dollars. This is something that is morally against their will. That is like our tax dollars going to, beating small children. You'd be aghast at that. That is what it's like for those people that are pro-life. This is like, and their tax dollars are being forcibly taken from them and being given to something that is against their personal morals.
Okay, I see that point, and I don't particularly care in the context of this article. I do see what you're getting at, but people's tax dollars are already funding abortions in this province, as they are in every other province in this country. A significant number of provinces in this, significant number of provinces are also adding coverage for this same pill, RU 486, which has a trade name that I can't say. Yeah, so New Brunswick already does it. Manitoba already does it. There's provinces where this is already an option. There's no province in Canada.
Government spending?
I would argue that it does not. On a per case basis, this is, call it half the price to give somebody a pill versus giving them a surgical abortion.
But this is much more convenient and less.
Right.
Less, yeah.
And that's why I would say, as a general statement, without having any actual evidence to support this, I would say that this would actually increase our healthcare costs because this is going to subsidize shitty behavior. We already subsidize
12 of these a year.
Right. So we already subsidize Plan B in Ontario. Plan B is the trade name for the morning after pill. So the morning after pill is an over-the-counter pill that you can get from any pharmacy in Ontario, and the cost is $40. And the Ontario government picks that cost up. So you could go and make shitty decisions every Friday night and then go and take the morning after pill. Well, now you can go and make shitty decisions every Friday night and not deal with it for up to 10 weeks. I would argue that this is
I have a serious question here. What is the logo?
What is the logo?
Anyone?
The logo of this pill, of the Myfesinagimo, or
this woman's health logo thing.
Yuri, what the hell is that?
Well, I know what I think that looks like, but that's
hold on. What?
That's another aside. If we're done talking about the nonsense that is giving away the abortion pill to subsidize poor behavior in this province,
we're subsidizing. Yes, you have the right to get an abortion. That is, that's respected. You can go out and get one. Pay for it yourself. I mean, it's your behavior that got you in that situation. It shouldn't be on the rest of society to pay the bills for your bad behavior. But what the hell is this logo?
So the logo is the non-gender inclusive Women's Health in Women's Hands Community Health Center in Toronto. I think it's supposed to be a woman holding her arms either in front of her and it's like an overhead shot, or maybe above her and making a heart sign. But it also kind of doesn't look like that.
It looks like from the breasts up, but yeah.
Is that okay?
But yeah.
This is some good graphic design on this guy.
I bet that
was
cost
done
$1 million.
Intentionally, though. I mean,
somewhere there's a board of directors that voted on that. That was the winning entry, guys.
All right.
All right. That's it.
I don't know. I could say stuff.
Professional stuff, even. All right. Last one. Toronto Sun. A grocer is offended by the minister's minimum wage response, and we've talked about this before with the minimum wage, and I'm not positive, but I think we actually talked about this particular grocer before at Farbert's Fresh Foods in Fergus, Ontario.
That sounds like something we'd talk about.
No, I don't think it was a different. It was a different grocer that said the opposite. It's a different grocer that said the opposite, saying, "I don't know why anybody would be upset about the minimum wage increasing."
Well, fuck that grocer then.
So,
because that grocer already has their price increases all tabulated, and he's ready to just pass it on. So
I really
maybe
wish
he's done it in advance,
the,
just pocketing extra money.
I wish that the owner of this grocery store wouldn't have been offended, because offended is not strong enough language for this. Being offended is not a satisfactory outcome for what the government is doing. So
Correct.
the where's the comment from the minister? Shit, I lost my quote.
Labor Minister Kevin Flynn.
There it is. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Very first line. The Minister of Labor said that the increases to minimum wage, that most decent, law-abiding Ontario businesses will be largely unaffected, and that is the offensive comment. I don't think offensive is.
Well,
maybe offensive isn't the right word, but I mean, this guy's comment is saying essentially that if you're decent, you wouldn't be upset about this. So basically, anyone that has an understanding of economics is not decent.
Right. So now we're making a moral argument instead of a fiscal one, because you're now indecent because you don't want to pay people a living wage. Well, no, this case, this Jackie Fraser that owns this independent grocery store worked out the math, and if she has to pay her employees $15 an hour, it means that they go from turning a profit at their small business to not being able to run their business because it will cost them money to pay their employees $15 an hour. They also talk about some of the other stuff the government's doing because I really like the comment about wind towards the end, but they talk about how that there are subsidies available to businesses to do this. And the grocer's comment is that she doesn't want a subsidy. She doesn't want a handout. And she wouldn't qualify for them anyway because she's not a restaurant. Because the restaurants are the only businesses the government is giving free money to. Free money, remember, is just a euphemism for your tax dollars.
Yes.
Fraser's comment about the Prime Minister is
that McDonald's was able to lobby for a handout, but the small businesses weren't.
Well, that's because small businesses are a tax shelter, guys.
But
yes, clearly this small grocery store with dozens of employees is a tax shelter for this family.
Yeah, but this is
clearly
Kevin Flynn, the Labor Minister, who says that decent law-abiding Ontario businesses will be largely unaffected. You know who will be entirely unaffected? Is non-law-abiding Ontario businesses.
Yeah.
It just shows a complete disconnect from reality. This whole, the slandering with you have to be, if you're decent law-abiding, it's like the whole, well, if you have nothing to hide, then just let them search your car or let them search your house kind of thing. Like, it's this whole, I don't know. It's stupid.
It is stupid. This is a campaign promise by Wynne to get reelected, or at least to get the Liberal Party of Ontario reelected at the next election. And the owner of this little grocery store is right. Wynne shouldn't mess this up. It's not broken. Don't fix it. Just stop meddling.
And so, again, I mean, the only ones that are saying that they're not going to be affected are just going to pass that. They're passing that increase on the consumer, but even still, they're going to be affected by loss of sales. I mean, as they raise the prices on everything to account for this increase in wages, that they're going to lose sales. And it's not just a one-to-one, because they also have to pay the payroll tax on that increased wage, and they have to pay, there's more EI that gets paid on all that. So there's, the government is taking an increased portion of all this money as well. So it's not like it's just the difference of the minimum wage. There's all of the added expenses that goes along with the increased payroll.
Yeah, and the government's going to collect more taxes on every aspect of that drives the wage up. Yeah, but this whole thing is this basically they create legislation that makes the owner give them a raise. I think we've talked about this before, but it makes them give their workers a raise that they probably wouldn't be able to afford to, but they have to because it's legislated. So already they're pitting the employee against the employer by saying, like, we made them give you a raise, and they take all the credit for it, and they do nothing for it. Again, the government does nothing. They just create legislature that puts extra hurdles and hard work and expense on business owners, and then they take the accolades for it.
All right, rapid fire feedback.
Hopefully they take credit for all the lost jobs that's going to be resulted from this.
Well, it's partly up to us.
That'll be the Conservatives' problem. Remember, it's Harper's fault.
He is the devil.
We just need more socialism. If we just had more socialism, it would be okay. All right, rapid fire feedback. We have an iTunes review. This is a 5-star iTunes review. This is from our friend Kyle. Maybe you've seen him lately. Not sure if they're motivated by hate mail or positive reviews, but here goes. Long, but it's a good title.
I'm intrigued. I can barely wait.
This podcast is a great way to get through rush hour drive in the GTA. You end up so triggered most of the time that the traffic won't bother you at all. The banter is great, and the topics/conversation are important to hear. As a Scotchman, I'm inclined to recommend that, but strawberry daiquiris or wine seems like it would generate more insightful discourse. Insightful is in quotes. All the best, Kyle.
Well, glad to hear that we are more triggering than Toronto traffic.
Yeah,
that's huge.
I'm pretty proud of that. That's good for us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kyle.
We're bigger assholes than I thought.
Scotch. Strawberry daiquiri is back on the list again. We've had another request for that. I don't know. The wine thing. I don't know if I can drink wine. I probably can't bring myself to do it.
Are you allowed to do the daiquiris, though? I heard there was a strong urging for you to not do that.
Yeah. Wine
I'm curious how you're pro strawberry daiquiri but anti wine.
Wine is for Italians and French.
Well, there is no culture.
To make strawberry daiquiris myself.
And strawberry daiquiris are for 16-year-old girls, but
but if I
anyone,
put real strawberries in the blender, I'm allowed to do it now.
Yeah,
nice.
You're allowed to use the blender now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Andrew's grown up enough that he can use the blender. He can be trusted with things.
Well,
he had to go get his. He had to go get his government-issued blender license, though. But
it's an add-on for your.
Oh
God, beer everywhere. Well, I'm cut off. I have to get paper towel. BRB.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So should we make fun of Andrew some more? Because it'll be funny when he goes.
I was gonna say, so this is the part of the show where we make fun of him for getting his belt again, right?
Yeah, because that was fucking hilarious. He was completely infuriated after that and proceeded to pound back many, many beverages at Marty's place after.
Yeah, I was like messaging the wives, like our two wives were out after that. I'm like, yeah, I think Andrew's really drunk because he passed out on the couch a few minutes ago.
Nice. Well, that happens.
Yeah, the wife asked me like today. She's like, "So are you guys gonna like give him a pass, or are you just gonna rip on him for forgetting his belt?" I'm like, "Oh no, we're gonna rip on him for forgetting his belt. That you can't let that go."
No, it's too good. Too good.
All right, what'd I miss?
Nothing. Just witty bants.
Good. Yeah. My office is going to smell like a brewery now. I don't know if that's better or worse than strawberry daiquiri.
Already?
I spilled a little bit of delicious beer.
Oh,
it happens.
That's alcohol abuse.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. I don't think I missed anything. You guys got any other closing remarks?
No. I think we've triggered enough people this evening.
Great. Gavin, where can people find you on the internet?
The best place to find me is on Instagram at urbex_GTA, or you can find me on the Facebooks with the Toxic Kodiak Pathfinders.
Marty, where can people find you?
Nowhere. CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Send us your feedback.
Awesome. At the Monthly Tornado.
Yeah.
No more tornadoes, please. And where can everybody find you?
You can find me at timsgoodtshirts.ca. They're quite good. Or facebook.com/timsgoodtshirts. They're quite good.
All right. You can find me on the internet at ragnaroktackle.ca. If you want to get bandages or tourniquets or get some gunfighting skills, I can probably help you out with 2 out of the 3.
I'd
Don't
recommend
ask him
in the
for his ammo
gunfighting
belt.
skills, you don't need the bandages or the tourniquets.
Honestly,
But, hey,
like
either way, he's got you covered.
I totally have it covered. No problem at all. I have to apologize to Rod Giltaca. We could not fit Rod on today's program.
Yeah, we had to drop Rod like beer.
Just like a Coors, it was just all over the floor.
Somewhere along the way, we lost Sean.
For all of our, yeah, Sean was here. Sean's probably still driving. That or he's been intercepted by the RCMP, one or the other. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, we'd like to remind you that you are the true North, strong and free.